The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse boardroom as Marcus Chen stared at the contract that would change everything. 25 years old, heir to a billion-dollar empire, and about to sign away his inheritance for a woman his father called completely unsuitable. The door burst open behind him. "Have you lost your mind?" Victor Chen's voice cut through the silence like a blade. The tech mogul who had built an empire from nothing stood in the doorway, his face a mask of controlled fury. "That girl has poisoned your judgment, Marcus. She's using you." But Marcus didn't turn around. He kept staring at the city lights below, remembering how different everything looked just 6 months ago. Marcus Chen had never wanted for anything. Private jets, luxury cars, exclusive parties where everyone knew his net worth before his name. But at 25, he felt like a ghost haunting someone else's life. His father's expectations pressed down on him like concrete. Business school, MBA, executive training, merger negotiations. Every day planned, every decision calculated for maximum profit. He was excellent at it all, and miserable beyond words. His penthouse apartment felt like a museum of expensive things he didn't care about. His social circle consisted of other wealthy heirs who spoke in stock prices and trust funds. Love, if it existed at all, came with prenups and family approval. Until the night his Ferrari broke down in the rain. Emma Rodriguez had been working the night shift at Tony's Auto Repair for 3 years, saving every penny for nursing school. At 23, she had calloused hands, grease under her fingernails, and dreams bigger than her paycheck. She was brilliant with engines, patient with difficult customers, and had never met a problem she couldn't solve with enough determination and coffee. When the sleek black Ferrari limped into her garage that rainy Tuesday night, Emma assumed it was another rich kid who'd treated his car like a toy. She was half right, but when Marcus stepped out, soaked and frustrated, something in his expression caught her attention. He looked lost in a way that had nothing to do with broken-down cars. "Can you fix it?" Marcus asked, and Emma noticed he said you, not someone here or your mechanics. He was looking directly at her, waiting for her answer. Most wealthy customers looked right through her. "What happened?" she asked, pulling on her work gloves. Marcus actually laughed, a sound that seemed to surprise him. "I have no idea. It just started making this grinding noise and then died." Emma popped the hood and immediately saw the problem. "When's the last time you had the transmission serviced?" Marcus looked blank. I don't actually drive it much. My driver usually—" He trailed off, looking embarrassed. Emma bit back a smile. "Well, your very expensive car is basically held together with hope right now. It needs major work." What should have been a simple transaction became something else entirely. While Emma worked, Marcus found himself actually talking to her. Not networking or making connections, just talking. She asked about his job, and for the first time, he answered honestly. "I sit in meetings and pretend to care about profit margins while slowly dying inside." Emma glanced up from the engine. Grease smeared across her cheek. "That sounds awful. Why don't you do something else?" The question was so simple, so direct, that Marcus actually laughed again. "Because my father built this company for me, because thousands of people depend on those profit margins for their jobs, because it's what I was born to do." "That's not an answer," Emma said gently. "That's a list of other people's expectations. What do you want to do?" Marcus stared at her, this woman who saw engines as puzzles to solve and asked questions that cut straight to the heart of things. He couldn't remember the last time someone had asked what he wanted. The repair took 3 hours. Marcus could have called for another car, but he found himself staying, drinking terrible coffee from a styrofoam cup and watching Emma work with focused precision. She explained what she was doing, her passion for mechanics evident in every gesture. She talked about returning to school, about wanting to be a nurse, about fixing things being in her nature. When she was finished, the Ferrari purring like new, Marcus paid the bill and added a tip that made Emma's eyes widen. "That's too much," she protested. "It's perfect," Marcus replied. "Same time next week?" Emma looked confused. "Your car is fine now. It won't need service for months if you take care of it." Marcus grinned, a genuine expression that transformed his entire face. "Then I guess I'll have to be very bad at taking care of it." Emma laughed despite herself, and Marcus knew he'd found something worth fighting for. Over the following weeks, Marcus invented increasingly creative reasons to visit the garage: a mysterious rattle, a weird smell, unusual tire wear. Emma saw right through his excuses, but found herself looking forward to his visits. He was nothing like she'd expected from a billionaire's son. He listened when she talked about her dreams, remembered details about her life, and slowly opened up about his own struggles with family expectations and personal fulfillment. Their first real date wasn't planned. Marcus arrived at the garage one evening to find Emma crying over a rejection letter from nursing school. Her grades were perfect, but she couldn't afford the tuition, even with financial aid. Without thinking, Marcus sat on the garage floor beside her, his expensive suit getting dirty, and just listened. "I'm sorry," Emma said, wiping her eyes. "This isn't your problem." Marcus surprised them both by saying, "Maybe I could help. I know people at the university. I could make some calls." Emma's expression hardened immediately. "I don't want charity, Marcus. I don't want you to buy my dreams for me." The rejection stung, but Marcus understood it. He'd spent his whole life having problems solved with money. Emma wanted to earn her way, and he respected that. "Then let me take you to dinner," he said instead, "not to solve anything. Just because I can't imagine anywhere else I'd rather be right now." Their relationship bloomed in secret, stolen moments. Late dinners at small restaurants where no one knew his name. Walks in parks where Emma taught him to notice things he'd never seen, despite living in the city his whole life. Conversations that lasted until dawn about books, dreams, the weight of other people's expectations, and the courage it took to disappoint those you loved. Emma showed Marcus how to change his own oil. Laughing as he struggled with simple tasks she did without thinking. Marcus showed Emma parts of the city she'd never accessed. Not the expensive restaurants and exclusive clubs, but quiet museums late at night, empty office buildings with incredible views, places where they could be alone with their growing feelings. For 4 months, they lived in a bubble of stolen happiness. Marcus had never felt more alive, more himself. He started making small changes at work, questioning decisions that prioritize profit over people, suggesting programs that would benefit employees rather than just shareholders. His father noticed, but attributed it to youthful idealism that would pass. The bubble burst on a Tuesday morning when Victor Chen's private investigator delivered a comprehensive file on Emma Rodriguez. Photos of Marcus leaving her apartment, financial records showing her family's struggles, background checks on everyone she'd ever known. Victor's conclusion was swift and merciless. Gold digger. That evening, Victor cornered Marcus in his office. "This ends now," he declared, throwing the file on the desk. "This girl is playing you, Marcus. Look at her background. Poor family, working multiple jobs, dating the heir to billions. The math isn't complicated. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach as he looked at the photos, the invasion of Emma's privacy laid out like evidence in a trial. You had her investigated? Marcus's voice was dangerously quiet. Of course I did. It's called due diligence. She's after your money, son. They always are. Victor's tone was matter-of-fact, as if discussing a minor business transaction. I've already had our lawyers draw up a severance agreement. $5 million to walk away and sign a non-disclosure agreement. Marcus stared at his father, seeing clearly for the first time the cold calculation that drove every relationship in Victor's life. She doesn't know about the money, Dad. She thinks I'm a middle manager who drives an expensive car he can't afford. She's never asked me for anything except honesty. Victor laughed, a sound without warmth. Don't be naive, Marcus. Everyone knows who you are. A quick internet search, a conversation with the right person. She knows exactly what she's doing. The words hit Marcus like physical blows because a part of him, the part trained from birth to suspect everyone's motives, wondered if his father might be right. That night, Marcus sat in his penthouse, staring at his phone. Emma had texted 3 times, worried because he'd missed their dinner date. He started to call her back a dozen times, but stopped each time. What if his father was right? What if everything they'd shared was just an elaborate performance? The doubt poisoned everything beautiful he remembered. For 3 days, Marcus avoided Emma's calls and texts. He threw himself into work, trying to drown his feelings in spreadsheets and merger documents. But every number reminded him of Emma's laugh, every contract of her honesty, every profit projection of her dreams of helping people as a nurse. On the 4th day, Emma appeared at his office building. She'd never come there before, and seeing her in the marble lobby in her work clothes, looking small and determined, broke something inside Marcus's chest. "You've been avoiding me," she said, when he finally came down to meet her. "Did I do something wrong?" Marcus led her to a quiet corner, his heart breaking at the concern in her eyes. "Emma, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Do you know who my father is? Do you know about my family's money?" Emma's confusion was so genuine that Marcus felt ashamed for doubting her. "I know your last name is Chen, and I assumed your family had money because of your car and clothes. But Marcus, I've never Googled you or asked personal questions because I fell in love with the person who sits in my garage drinking terrible coffee and listening to me talk about carburetors. Why does the rest matter?" The simple honesty of her answer, the hurt in her voice at his suspicion, made Marcus's decision for him. He told her everything: his father's empire, the inheritance waiting for him, the investigation, the offered bribe. Emma listened in stunned silence, her face cycling through shock, hurt, and finally, understanding. "So your father thinks I'm a gold digger," she said when he finished. It wasn't a question. Marcus nodded miserably, and part of you wondered if he was right. This time, it was a statement, and Marcus's silence was answer enough. Emma stood up slowly. "I need some time to think about this, Marcus. All of this." For a week, they didn't speak. Marcus was miserable, but Emma was processing a different kind of pain. The man she loved had wealth beyond her imagination and had hidden it from her. Worse, he doubted her character based on his father's cynical worldview. She felt manipulated and mistrusted in equal measure. The turning point came when Emma's younger brother, Miguel, was hit by a drunk driver. The medical bills were catastrophic, far beyond what her family's insurance would cover. Emma worked triple shifts, sold everything she owned, But it wasn't enough. When Marcus heard about the accident through mutual friends, he showed up at the hospital with a check that would cover everything. "I can't accept this," Emma said, even as she looked through the ICU window at Miguel, unconscious and fighting for his life. "It's not charity," Marcus said quietly. "It's love. It's what people who care about each other do. They help." Emma looked at this man who'd hidden his wealth, but was offering it freely now, asking for nothing in return. "Your father will say this proves his point," Emma said, "that I'm only with you for money." Marcus took her hand. "My father has been wrong about everything that matters my whole life. I don't care what he says anymore. I care what you say. I care what we choose together." That night, after Miguel's surgery was successful, Marcus and Emma had the conversation that would define their future. Emma told him that while she understood why he'd hidden his wealth initially, the lack of trust had hurt deeply. Marcus admitted that his father's suspicions had poisoned his thinking, and that he was ashamed of doubting her. "I love you," Marcus said, "not because you're impressed by my money or because you want something from me, but because you see past all of it to who I actually am. You make me want to be better, do better, live better." Emma smiled through her tears. "I love you too. But if we do this, really do this, your family will hate me forever." Marcus kissed her gently. "Then we'll make our own family, you, me, and whatever dreams we build together." The next morning, Marcus walked into his father's office and placed a resignation letter on the desk. He was giving up his inheritance, his position in the company, and his trust fund. He would start over with Emma, building something real together. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life," Victor said, his face pale with shock and fury. "She'll leave you the moment she realizes you're just another struggling young man." Marcus smiled peacefully. "Then I guess I'll find out what I'm really worth beyond a bank balance. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing love over fear. I'm choosing her over everything else." 6 months later, Marcus and Emma were married in a small ceremony at the community center where Emma volunteered. Marcus worked as a financial consultant. Emma had started nursing school with scholarships she'd earned through her grades and community service. They lived in a modest apartment and drove a used car. Marcus had learned to maintain himself. They were happier than Marcus had ever imagined possible. Some evenings, Victor would drive by their apartment building, watching his son carry groceries up 3 flights of stairs, and wonder if love really could be worth more than everything he'd built. But that's a story for another day. In the end, Marcus Chen learned that the greatest inheritance isn't money or power, but the courage to choose your own path and the wisdom to recognize love when it finds you. As Emma graduated nursing school with honors and Marcus built his consulting business one honest client at a time, they proved that sometimes the richest life is the one you build together, one choice at a time, choosing each other over and over again, no matter what the world thinks you're worth.